gratefulness. Hello, KZOOMers.
Hey, it's great to see you.
So great to see you. So we come together to practice at this very auspicious moment of just before the new moon of Nisan, which is the first month, and the month of our liberation. And so we can watch the moon grow. When it gets to be full, it'll be the night of watching, the night of our crossing of liberation. And so it's sort of like I feel that moon inside me, kind of just growing the awareness of possibility. That's what the moon kind of represents, that cycle of opening to possibility and then receiving the fullness. But I always feel like this time right before the new moon is so crucial, to sort of be very awake and alert to those possibilities. And for us now, the possibilities of freedom. And we can understand freedom in lots of different ways. And mostly, one time I led a Seder in a prison, and it was so moving to me because the people who were in prison said to me, we know what freedom is, and they knew it. They could only have it on the inside. They couldn't have it on the outside, but they were so clear of what a moment of freedom was, and knowing its preciousness, even on the inside. So, and that's kind of where we're going in our KZOOMing practice. And the name of this class has to do with sweetening, because that is the spiritual challenge that we are given on the journey of our awakening, of our freedom. So when we leave slavery, we leave constriction, conditioning, we take our steps into the wilderness, and within 3 days, the bitterness kind of our enslavement is just right there under our tongue. We can taste it, and we come to the waters, and because we are thirsty, we come to the waters, we drink from those waters, and it's bitter, and we start complaining about that bitterness. And Moses, who kind of understands the whole the part of us that understands the whole process, realizes that the bitterness that we taste is the bitterness of the past, is the bitterness of our the trauma that we've inherited, and that our task is to sweeten those bitter waters. and to again taste the milk and honey that is under our tongue, the milk and honey that's under our tongue, the promised land that is already here within us, so that we can taste it. And that is our freedom, really, being able to taste it right here, wherever we are, regardless of circumstance. Just even to taste it will send us on our way towards the promised land. And as the old reggae song says, the promised land is a state of mind. Yes.
Magic fashion.
But I had to say it in a different, in an accent, the promised land is a state of mind.
Oh, that's good.
Yes. So we wanted to take on this challenge, and there's a lot of Hasidic masters who realize that is the challenge, is the sweetening, that all of us come with a bitterness, in a bitter taste, and life can touch us in that way to kind of condition us to be looking for the danger and constricting around it. And so the task of sweetening is to be able to enter a more spacious mind, and to be able to notice that honey and milk that are under our tongue. So the Song of Songs instructs us, saying, your lips, my bride, drip honey. Honey and milk are under your tongue. So as we chanted, we just try to find the quality of sweetness in your own voice and in the quality of your own presence. Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, siftotayich, kalah, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, siftotayich, kalah, dvash v'chalah, dvash v'chalah, dvash v'chalah, tachat לשונך, דבש וחלב, דבש וחלב, דבש וחלב, תחת לשונך. Try smiling as you chant. Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, siftotayich, kalah, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, siftotayich, kalah, dvash v'chalah, dvash v'chalah, dvash v'chalah, tachat לשונך, דבש וחלב, דבש וחלב, דבש וחלב, תחת לשונך. Can you taste it? Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, Nofet, titofna, siftotayich, kalah, Nofet,
titofna nofet, titofna nofet, titofna siftotayich kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, tachat leshonech, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, tachat leshonech, nofet, titofna nofet, titofna nofet, titofna siftotayich kalah, nofet, titofna nofet, titofna nofet, titofna siftotayich kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, tachat leshonech, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, tachat leshonech, nofet, titofna nofet, titofna nofet, titofna siftotayich kalah, nofet, titofna nofet, titofna nofet, titofna siftotayich kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, tachat leshonech, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, dvash v'kalah, tachat leshonech. So close your eyes, bring your attention to that taste, that imagining that taste of honey and milk under your tongue, and the honey represents that sweetness, and the milk represents that nourishment from the Great Mother that is always pouring into the world if we are receptive to it. And let us say, yum. So it's in the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, there is a pathway to sweetening, which the word is hamtaka. So the Baal Shem Tov realizes that that's where we're going. That's where we're aiming for, this hamtaka, which is the sweetening. But he says that there are a couple steps on the way to the sweetening. And I learned this from Bert Jacobson, who learned it from Miles Krasson, who learned it from the Baal Shem Tov.
Somebody who learned it from the Baal Shem Tov. And the three steps are Hachna'ah, Havdalah,
and then hamtaka. Those are the three steps. That's the to journey towards sweetening. And so he realized that that in order to get to that sweetening, first we had to let go. We had to the Hachna'ah is a word that means to kind of surrender, be humbled by, kind of cop to those places of disconnection in us. And what I look at it as is like, I do really fine in this world until I get triggered. And so the awareness of my triggers is kind of humbling. And becoming aware of what triggers me tells me kind of where I need healing. And by healing, I mean I've gotten disconnected from my own resources, and I'm going to need to connect back up, because when I get triggered, all the blood leaves my forebrain, goes to my reptile brain, and I am cut off from all of my higher functions. I'm cut off from those resources. And I need to be able to find my way back. Yeah. Often when I get triggered, I think that there's this rule that is called the 20/80 rule. And I can assume that when I get triggered, 20% of it is about present time, and there's a good chance that 80% of it is going to be about something else, my stuff, the past trauma. The trauma, whatever it is like it blows, sort of, amplifies that feeling of terror, discomfort, whatever it is that I'm, that the trigger is. So what I want to do with this step of Hachna'ah is, first of all, realize that I'm triggered. Recently I was doing a session, like a premarital counseling session with people who are about to get married, and I said the most important thing in marriage is knowing what your triggers are. And it might even be good to know what the triggers are of your partner. But to know, because if you know what your triggers are, then you notice that you're triggered before you do too much damage, and you can take this pathway of reconnection, because you have become disconnected from the wholeness of life, from your own resources, from your compassion, from your wide perspective. That's kind of what happens when we get triggered.
From your forebrain.
Yes.
It's gone.
So that moment of realizing, oh yeah, this is hard. This is something. There's something in me that needs healing. There's some way that I need to pause before I, sort of be in reactive mode. That's the moment of Hachna'ah, and it's yielding, it's humbling, it's bringing this awareness to bear.
I just want to say, I just remembered that in brain research, they say up to 80% of our blood leaves the forebrain and goes to the reptile brain. That's the 80/20.
That's the
80% of our blood is back here, and only 20%.
Right.
There it is.
It's the 80/20. It's the 80/20 rule. Mm-hmm. So if you want to look at, maybe at some of your own patterns of when do you get triggered, and in a way put that pattern on the altar of the chant. And when do you get cut off from your own resources? When do you lose your perspective?
And if in that moment you can kind of cry out, open to the flow again, then you can, sort of raise your awareness of your state. And that's the beginning of coming back into connection. So does everybody have like maybe something that they're thinking of that is your trigger? And then we will come into Hachna'ah with this chant. Chaneyni Yah
Chaneyni
So as we come into this heightened awareness of our own places of disconnection, there is it's like something different that we do then. Because the kind of normal way when we feel that kind of discomfort or is to go to denial or shame or resistance, or we go the opposite direction. It's like, oh, don't like that, I'm going somewhere else. But the wisdom actually is to go towards it, because that's how healing happens. Like the obstacle is there, the trigger is there, and then instead of trying to run away from it, we enter into it. And that's the next step in this process is called Havdalah. Havdalah is it means discernment or separating. It's like there is something that we do because the secret of our healing is hidden inside what the difficulty is or the disease. It's like a homeopathic kind of a thing. There's like a little drop of that disease becomes our healing, and we want to bring more awareness and more compassion rather than resistance. So to do the process of Havdalah is to find the seed of goodness or of God in that very difficulty. That thing, that place that's hard, is to enter into it and see, that it has the seed of its own healing inside it. And I just came across this teaching from Rabbi Nachman that says, one who is aware can find God in the midst of the obstacles themselves. There really are not any obstacles in the world at all, because in the obstacles themselves is found the Holy One. Through the obstacles themselves, in fact, one might draw closer to God, because that is where God is hidden. So that sense that there's a mystery here, and rather than cover it up, I want to go into that mystery and find in it, the hidden goodness. So this is, I wish if we were together speaking in conversation, we would take each person's difficulty and say, okay, like, what does it mean to go into that? What does it mean to find that hidden spark in the difficulty? And sometimes you can do it by even looking at times in your life that were really maybe had challenges, and with the perspective that you have now, be able to see, oh yeah, there was something speaking to me there. There was something I learned. There was a hidden gift, and I want to receive that now. But it takes this process of Havdalah, and finding that light even in the darkest places. So I thought that this line from Psalm 112, verse 4, that says, even in the darkness a light shines, and then it gives three midot, Chanun actually four, LaY'sharim. It's for the upright, LaY'sharim. Chanun, grace. Verachum, compassion. Tzaddik,
justice. So it feels as if it's saying that hidden in the darkness, in your own darkness, those qualities will reveal the hidden, the hidden divine, in that quality of uprightness, of grace, of compassion, of justice. When we embody those qualities, when we inhabit those qualities, we'll be able to find the light even in the darkness. So it's really a very inspiring possibility on this just before the new moon time to contemplate. Like, if anybody's shruting, I do it with an E and an A for this, and maybe if there's possible to drum. So this is a 3-part round, and we're going to do.
We're pretty good, but
2 parts. We don't have another mouth here, so you guys are going to have to be the 3rd part.
Oh, yeah, that'll sound great.
But I want to just as we, there's a thing about chanting, is that as you're chanting a word, you're embodying that quality. So our intention is Havdalah, of finding the light in the darkness, really discerning it, calling it forth, and I want to do that through a practice of embodying these midot, these qualities. So especially this Chanun. Chanun is like this flowing grace. Rachum, which is opening up our compassion for ourselves and others, and tzaddik, really seeing, having a vision of justice. So every time you chant those words, see if you can abracadabra them, bring them forth into being inside you, because that's what's going to help us call forth the light from within the darkness. We'll do it together first for a few times. Zarach BaChoshech Or, Zarach BaChoshech Or, Zarach BaChoshech Or LaY'sharim, Chanun Zarach BaChoshech Or Zarach BaChoshech Or LaY'sharim Chanun B'rachu And in the silence, I invite you to close your eyes and feel those qualities. First of the uprightness, the way of the heart just opening up, sitting upright inside you. And Chanun, this flow of grace that was always there for you. Now we're opening to it, letting it flow through us. And Rachum, this quality of compassion, first for ourselves and then for the world, just connecting us back up to our resources, to our wide perspective. And in that wide perspective, we find our power, our sense of justice, our righteousness. We become a tzaddik. And from that stance, we look into our own lives and into those places that feel dark, difficult, challenges. And from that place, we look in and find the spark of goodness. Bring our attention to it. Grow it with our awareness. And in that awareness, we reconnect with our resources that we were cut off from. And the Baal Shem Tov would say that when we take those steps of Hachna'ah and Havdalah, that little spark that we find, that little seed, is going to lead us to Hamtaka, to the place of sweetening. And I find it tremendously inspiring just to look into your faces, to get a little sweetening
energy from you. And you want to just take a look around the KZOOM room for a moment. And oh, Toba, you're here. I was reading from your book.
Ah.
That's great.
Yeah.
To tell you that this is Toba's book. That I found the Reb Nachman quote just in time.
God is here. Reimagining.
What? Wait a minute. He's saying something. Oh, there's a package. Okay, thank you.
Friendly neighbors.
Friendly neighbors. Anyway, it's a beautiful book, and that's where that Reb Nachman quote was from. So, want to come to this place of hamtaka, sweetening, and the phrase that I chose, I call it the river of bliss. And there's this idea, first in Hachna'ah of realizing we are disconnected, and Havdalah is like opening up that channel again towards reconnection to the wholeness of life, to our resources. And then we can taste the milk and honey under our tongue by opening up to this river of bliss. Adanecha. This river of bliss is the river from the source. And, maybe it's inside us, that river. It's like when we're disconnected and then suddenly the connection happens again. It's like, we're flooded with all of the right chemicals that are
It's like a stream of well-being.
It's
flowing.
So that's what we're drinking, that honey and milk. For with you, is the source of life. The source of life is in you, and you just need to open to it. And in your light we see light. So I wanted to do this practice with you just as a tasting of that sweetness. And imagine that the sounds that we're making are connecting us up to that stream of well-being. And that honey and milk that are under your tongue, that you can taste it when you are reconnected in that way. And again, find the sweetness in your voice. It's like as if you are singing to the one that you love, the one that your soul loves, and you want to find that sweetness in your voice.
adanecha
see light. Adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Is the source of life. In your light we see light. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Adanecha, adanecha, tashkaym. Is the source of life. In your light we see light.
So you want to just keep your eyes closed for a moment and just allow the sweetness of those words to sink in. Feel it in your body. Bring a heightened awareness to that possibility of bringing that sweetness to the world, to yourself, to your relationships, and have it kind of be a balancing force to all the bitterness in the world. And just breathe in, feel the new moon of Nisan opening us to this path of liberation. So we want to open our eyes, take a look around the KZOOM room just to thank everybody's sweet presence that they're bringing to this.
Hey, everybody. Whoa. Hey, Tony.
So here we are more than 2 years later, still KZOOMing,
Mm-hmm.
still enjoying each other and coming to practice together.
And speaking of coming to practice together, we are so grateful to the angels and gods of the internet that we were able to make it all the way through this week without any glitches, without the internet going wonky. So, yay.
So I invite you to go visit my website and take a look at the different retreats that are going to be happening that I'm hoping that people will sign up for. There's a Shavuot retreat happening in June, and something else, an inter-spiritual convergence happening in July, and another interspiritual convergence happening at the Kalah too, and a river trip happening
In August. On the Green River again.
So so think about if you might want to come to one of those retreats, and then while you're at the website, give a little donation in honor of what you have learned or what you're taking with you.
We appreciate it very much.
And so so as we sit with the practice, it's nice when we can just take a few minutes to check in with whoever wants to stay for 10 minutes to just check in about.
But if you have to go, we love you. Bye.